Welcome back to another tutorial on using Adobe Lightroom Classic. In this series of tutorials, we're going to explore how to process color portraits using Adobe Lightroom and do some basic photo retouching. But first, I want to review in this first video the import procedure, how we import photos into Lightroom following the kind of class naming and class organizational structure, because some of you are still struggling with that. So let's begin. What we're going to do, I'm in Adobe Lightroom, so if you don't have that open, go ahead and open it up. And I don't have any portraits that I had taken, so I'm going to borrow from a student. So I'm in the library. I'm going to import, right, bottom left-hand corner, import. Left-hand side of the dialog box that opens up, I'm looking for my source. You guys will be importing from a camera, most likely, right, SD card. I'm going to be importing from a student's Google Drive. So I have file stream open. I'm going to navigate down here into 5th period and pick on a student. Let's go to Delaney's, alright, and we don't want to have all the Delaney's work, so we're going to go under Photos and Portraiture, and I believe the ones that I was looking for inside of here. So you're going to be pulling from the SD card, probably called No Name or something like that. Our setting up here at the top, we want to choose copy. You should be shooting in RAW. With the Sony cameras, that's .arw. Alright, gives us more control when we do processing. All the cameras by default are set to shoot in RAW. Now I do not want to import all of these portraits. I'm going to hit uncheck all. I'm going to click on this first one of Faith. I'm going to hold shift and click on the last one in the series. Hit the check mark in one box and it automatically highlights those. And I'm going to bring these particular ones in of Faith. Next, where are they going to go and how are we going to name them? So you'll notice that my kind of little triangles or arrows right here are little dots instead of solid white. What I did was I clicked on option, right? Now it's solid, option, click on it. I like to have them like this so that it's in solo mode or isolation mode so that it automatically closes any other ones and only one's open at a time. We learned before we're going to do one-to-one previews. That helps, especially when we do photo retouching, which we're going to do in the next video. One-to-one is like one-to-one true size. Build smart previews is optional. And then we're going to do file renaming. We created a template for how to name our files for class. If you don't have that, right in your drop down here called EHS Photography, go back to the previous tutorial and check it out. Remember, custom text is your last name, first initial, and then the shoot name is the name of the assignment. So my example would be Hayes R. Then the shoot name, natural light portraits. You notice that it is camel case, that the second words in the sequence, the first letter is capital, camel case, like a camel hump. And then we're going to start with number 1 because these are the first time that I am importing these. Apply during import. We have some settings here. You should have developed settings for the class camera. We did this in a previous tutorial on, I believe, using our iPhones. You were supposed to go back and make another one for the class camera. You can refer back to that tutorial. Under developed settings, user presets, you can see that I have one for the nicer classroom camera, the A7R2, and then the one most of us are using, the Sony A6000, and that's going to apply some basic settings for me on import. And then we also previously set up copyright metadata, so to automatically apply some copyright. We want to add some keywords, so let's say portraits, natural light, and these were taken in the park, so I can put park in there. And then very important, our destination. Where are these going to go? They're going to go into a folder called Portraiture. We're going to do several different assignments for Portraiture. So what I want is all of these different assignments to go into the one folder, but because of our naming, we'll be able to distinguish them. Some will be called natural light portraiture, some will be called black and white, different stuff like that. And then we're going to navigate to Google Drive, and under My Drive, you should have a drive folder called Photos, and then you can see they're going to go into this portraiture folder, and I'm going to hit import. What they're going to do is it's going to import the photos from the camera or from your source and build one-to-one previews in the background. You can begin editing before the one-to-one previews are built. But before we edit, we want to make contact sheet. After the contact sheet, we want to pick our good and bad photos, right? Cull our photos down. But first I want to see that you've taken a variety of portraits. Good photographers take multiple images, whittle it down to the best ones. So I'm going to highlight all 5 of these that came in. You should have more like 25 or so. We would come under print as a review here and single image / contact sheet. Then you can adjust the number of rows and columns. So if you have 25, you could do 5 by 5, right? I'm going to do 1 row, 5 columns because I have 5 pictures, all right? I'm going to turn off, well, I guess rotate to fit. These ones are that way. Let's see. I'm going to turn off zoom to fill. Let me see what would work best. That'll kind of work. Just as long as I can see them, right? You should probably have a 5 by 5 grid. I'm going to turn off show guides just to get rid of some of the clutter. We have some other things here like cell spacing, and I'm going to bump that up just so there is a little bit of margin between the photos, okay? You can also do keep square, and I'm going to have you do that just to make it look a little bit better, all right? So a little space in between your cells, keep square, and then if you have 25, do 5 by 5. If you have 30, do 5 by 6. Then we're going to click print. Or actually, printer. Mine's probably actually going to print to the printer, but I messed up on that. So printer, PDF, save as PDF, and then go ahead and save that into your folder. So I'm going to go into Google Drive, My Drive, Photos, Portraiture, and then it says Lightroom. Let's call that Natural Light Color Portraits, and save. Now we can go back to our library, and that's going to see it's saving it in the background there. We're good to go. Now from here I would hit F to get full screen, right? And thank you for our model for being kind enough to let me use her as an example. I know it's you know, can be embarrassing to have your face blown up on the screen, so thank you very much for that. So I'm going in full screen, and I'm going to turn caps lock on, right? And I'm going to do P if I want to keep this image to consider editing, and X to discard it. So P to pick, and with caps lock on, it automatically moves to the next picture. P to pick, P to pick, then I might say X to discard just because we don't see her face very well, and P to pick, and we'd go through, and I can hit F to come back out, and you can see I have white flags on the ones that I'm keeping, black flags on the ones that I'm discarding. If you so choose, you can do photo, and you can delete rejected photos, which are the black ones, and get rid of them. All right, I'm going to leave it on there for now, just in case I want to go back and mess with it, and I would then proceed to develop the white ones. But I would start with probably, you know, my favorite one or the best one, and I'm probably going to choose this one to develop in the next set of tutorials. So we reviewed importing, we reviewed file naming, we reviewed creating a contact sheet, and we reviewed culling your photos. Next up, next tutorial, how do we make these portraits look awesome? Or more awesome than they already are, because our subject is awesome.